Welcome to the Larson Health Podcast, where we connect the dots between physical health, mindset, and sustainable wellness. I'm your host, Kim Larson, founder of LarsonHealthWeightLoss.com. This episode of Larson Health Podcast is proudly powered by Bold Brave TV. You can watch or listen on Spotify, YouTube at the Coach Kim Larson, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to tune in to your favorite shows. Today, we're diving into a fascinating but often overlooked area of health, your eyes. From the food we eat to the light we're exposed to, your eyes are constantly interpreting and reacting to your environment. To help us explore the cutting edge of ocular wellness, I'm thrilled to welcome Dr. Carrie Roitstein. Dr. Carrie is a proud partner at Glimpse Vision, a certified nutrition practitioner and integrative health coach with over 30 years of experience in optometry. She blends cutting edge medical care with holistic nutrition to promote long-term ocular health. Dr. Roitstein authors a regular nutrition column for Optometry Times and proudly serves on the board of Ocular Wellness and Nutrition Society. Her work emphasizes non-toxic living, personalized wellness, and integrative eye care for a healthier future. So let's dig in. Dr. Carrie, welcome to the podcast.
Hi. Hi. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you. So, hey, what inspired you to start to merge into integrative nutrition with eye care after being an eye doctor for all these years?
First, I just want to say to your listeners, like how long we've had a relationship and how kind of both of our lives have gone down this other path, which has been really
Yeah.
fun, right? Um,
Yes.
Take us into this wellness space. So thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
so I've always personally been into wellness and fitness and nutrition. And as eye care has kind of evolved into this space connecting the dots between systemic disease and ocular disease, it started actually with product use. So I was learning more about how all these toxins in makeup and those types of things could really affect my patients' dry eyes and irritated eyes. And so we started talking about that in exams, and I was educating myself. But then it got to a point where I was educating myself, but I really didn't have the background or the official title of being a specialist in that area.
Yeah.
And so I just started learning about different programs that would take me into that space and really be able to connect the dots with my patients. And my two offices in Chicago are private practices, and my patient population is in pretty affluent areas. People are very dialed into wellness and health and all of those different aspects. So it's been well received when I did start promoting more of that integrative tool and more functional wellness and nutrition and all of those things. And then I got board certified a year and a half ago as a nutrition practitioner. I can't hear you. I think you might be muted.
Oh, yep, there you
Oh,
go.
there you
So,
go. Okay, fine.
but
Sorry.
you recommended this product to me, this
Yeah.
Evisia, and
Yes.
I use it, on a regular basis, and
Yes.
I use it at night for, the gel part, and it's helped immensely.
Yeah. So that
And
product is preservative free, and then it also has the high hyaluronic acid. It's a
yes.
few products that you can still get over the counter that has that ingredient.
Yes, yeah. So exactly. And I think it's a game changer. It's really helped with the moisture in my eyes. So
Mm.
and I don't wear toxic makeup or anything like that. I wear, non-toxic makeup, but Lord knows, learning functional health and learning about all the parabens and everything else that we've been fighting with that make our bodies toxic. So I'm glad we're both in this space now.
Yeah.
So, how do non-toxic products and natural treatments play a role in the practice today?
Um, well, like you mentioned, parabens and in like the makeup remover and cleanser space, there's formaldehyde and all of these toxic ingredients that are very underregulated in the US, as you know.
Yeah.
Um, our food is underregulated, our products, like everything in our homes, right?
Yes.
And you can literally go down a rabbit hole and deep dive into so many other things. But it's all interrelated, and your eyes are exposed to so many toxins, and so trying
Yes.
to keep as many of those toxic ingredients away from our eyes can help with the outside. And then we also talk about nutrition and all of those things from the inside, to heal and to think about healthcare on a more holistic level. So it's been really, really fun to, connect the dots, because a lot of light bulbs go off in patients' eyes um,
Yeah.
when you start talking about those things. People don't connect the dots usually. So yeah.
They don't. Most people don't understand what the difference is between food being our medicine and how it truly
Mhm.
can help improve and heal our bodies.
Mhm. True,
Yeah.
true, true. So
So so you help explain like how sleep or melatonin and early sun exposure can affect like visual processing and eye health?
yeah, so this is like a really interesting topic. And I get asked all the time because there's unfortunately, a lot of, I say Americans, but probably beyond America, we get our news, unfortunately, from social media and not uh, from non-news sources or from non-science based or those types of things, right?
Yeah.
And so we've got a lot of photoreceptors in our retina that can help with visual processing, and melatonin plays a role in that.
Really?
Yeah, so uh, sunglasses are still a non-negotiable for patients, because the UV damage, the UVA, UVB from the sun can cause so many detrimental things to our eyes, including cataracts and macular degeneration and skin cancers, right? Um,
Yeah. You can get a
and
sunburn in your eye.
Correct. It's no different, right? But again, a lot of the media out there is, oh, we need to be exposed to the sun and we don't want to wear sunglasses and we don't want to put sunblock on our skin because we should live, naturally, and all of these things. And so about the studies say about 5 to 10 minutes of sun exposure in the morning. So I tell my patients, go out in the morning, have your coffee. If you don't want to
Yeah.
put your sunglasses on, if you don't want to put sunblock on during that like small period of time to wake
Yes.
up, right? To kickstart and keep our circadian rhythm more balanced. And that's a really great habit to get into. And beyond that,
Yeah.
we need to have sunglasses on and we do need to protect our eyes. But
Yes.
that sun exposure in the morning is really helpful to keep those circadian rhythms balanced. But then in the evening, you hear a lot about blue light. So blue light, most of our blue light is in the sun. So the harmful blue light is mostly outdoors. So there hasn't been a study to date that that proves any blue light coming from our devices cause any eye health harm to our eyes.
Okay.
But blue light from our devices can affect melatonin. It actually suppresses melatonin. So in the
Okay.
evening, we want to make sure that we dial back our devices or have the dark mode, have that black background on,
Okay.
to make sure that our melatonin, we want melatonin in the evening that triggers sleep. So,
Okay.
so that is kind of how light and dark work, right? So if you can
Yeah. Yeah.
tolerate having that black background on your devices all day, I suggest that patients do that as well.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Good to
but
know.
yeah, but blue light in the evening will affect sleep cycles. So if you're not a good
Okay.
sleeper, either stay off your devices or make sure if you're reading on a device that you have that the dark background, the dark mode.
Okay. And what do you think for like with the blue light, is there any long-term vision you think challenges that might happen if you keep ruining the melatonin?
As far as blue light exposure, again, that's the sunglasses predominantly, like when you're outdoors. But I don't know of any studies that show, long-term device exposure. With children, we want to get kids outside. We want to get kids outside and off devices, and that's not as much blue light exposure as it is just getting them outdoors, and that exposure to nature can actually help with myopia control. So
Okay.
nearsightedness.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah, these are my blue light blockers. So when
Yeah,
I'm working on the computer,
yeah.
I wear these. So
Yeah.
I
So
won't wear
the
them right now.
blue light filter in glasses filters about
Yeah.
20 to 30% of the blue light. And if you have the dark mode or flip your screen, it will
Yeah.
trump the blue light filter in your glasses and hit up to 90%.
Is that right? Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Our listeners should be listening.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So stay with us. We'll be right back. The Larson Health Podcast is brought to you by our sponsors and LarsonHealthWeightLoss.com, where healing begins with the food on your plate. If you're ready to reset your metabolism and reclaim your energy, visit us online and learn more at LarsonHealthWeightLoss.com. We'll be right back with Dr. Carrie Roitstein. Welcome back to the Larson Health Podcast. We're here with Dr. Carrie Roitstein talking about eye health. So, what foods or nutrients do you recommend, specifically for eye health?
That's a really good question. And that it depends what we're talking about.
Well,
So
we hear carrots all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, carrots are good. Vitamin A that helps with night vision and visual processing and retinal health, right? Um, I talk a lot about carotenoids. So there's about 750 known carotenoids. About 40 or so are common in the human diet. There are two that are specific to retina health. And those
Oh,
two carotenoids or pigments in our food are lutein and zeaxanthin. And
okay.
so we talk a lot in my office about lutein and zeaxanthin for retina health. So that would be more your macular degeneration, cataract prevention, night vision, contrast, light sensitivity. And so those foods that focus on lutein and zeaxanthin are your greens, your spinach, your kale, your broccoli. I always say that those are more nutrient dense if they're cooked or if they're broken down. So a smoothie is a great way to add more lutein. Pistachios are a good lutein source. And
Pistachios, love it.
zeaxanthin, yeah, zeaxanthin's everything orange and yellow primarily. So everything from egg yolks to sweet potatoes, carrots, squash, turmeric, paprika,
Ooh, yum.
spices, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so some of the supplements that I prescribe even have marigold, so that again
Oh,
that yellow
cool.
pigment, right, in
Yeah.
plants. So mangoes are a good source of zeaxanthin. So lutein and
Yum.
zeaxanthin are also well, because those are the two carotenoids across the blood-brain barrier. So it's also brain health. So your
Okay.
dementia, your Alzheimer's, uh,
Yeah.
depression, right? So
Yes.
brain and eye. Then when we talk about dry eyes, we lead more into your omega 3s. So
Okay.
yeah, so that would be your fatty fishes, fishes, your fatty fish,
Okay.
your walnuts, right? Your olive oil, your healthy fats.
Yes.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Mediterranean diet still wins for eye health.
yes. Yes, absolutely. And for a lot of things. So it's very healthy diet for most people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I take an omega-3 fish oil every single day. I take a shot. So I take 2 ounces every day and I put a little water in my shot glass and I drink it up every day.
Got it. I thought
And
you
I
meant a shot like an injection. So
No, no, shot glass. Yeah. Yeah, because I get my
yeah,
blood work done from Function Health, And speaking of eye health, I had on my left eye, I had um, some fluid filling the gaps of my eye, and so I couldn't
Yeah,
see very well. And the doctor was putting some shots in, and I had just started the omega threes, and then all of a sudden I had no more problems, no more leaking, no more nothing. And I think it was the omega threes.
anti-inflammatory.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you incorporate like a macular pigment measurement technology in your practice?
So there's one of the companies that I stand behind for prescribing supplements. They're kind of all encompassing for anti-inflammatory, dry eyes, macular degeneration, but then even the options are more tailored to specific patient population. So if somebody's vegan or if somebody can't do like specific ingredients, there's a test that I do on all of my patients. It's a
Okay.
macular pigment optical density. And then
Okay.
what it does is it measures the pigment density in your macula, and that is completely dependent on nutrition. So the more of those carotenoids that we just talked about, the lutein and zeaxanthin, the more
Yeah.
dense that pigment becomes, and
Okay.
the less likely or lower risk we will have for having that oxidative stress from the sun damage or inflammation in the body, right?
Yes.
Medications from chronic disease that patients are on. So our eyes are more protected with those ingredients. So there's even athletes that take the same supplements because it helps with night vision, it helps with contrast and light sensitivity and those types of things.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, because I had cataract surgery early in my 40s. And I'm sure it's because of too much looking at the sun and whatever else. And the doctor said people with light colored eyes typically will get cataracts before people with dark eyes. Whatever the unhealthy lifestyle I was living in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I'm sure
Right.
did not help any of that.
Lot of good stories to be had. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so knowing now that it has improved at night, like I don't worry about it as much anymore. I still, I drive. I don't wait for my husband to drive me at night, because, and I'm sure it's because we're eating the rainbow of foods, not Skittles, but eating sweet potatoes and bell peppers and red onions and red potatoes, and we're actually growing some red potatoes and purple potatoes, and we get a variety of carrot colors and all different kinds of variety of foods to make sure that we're eating a variety of colors.
Yep. Need more people to be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me, like, I know that you've been in, as an eye doctor for quite a while. How have you seen the transition from 30 years ago to today? How much has it advanced?
The technology is so advanced. I have imaging software now that can image the retina behind what I see with the microscope. So I
Really?
can find macular degeneration on somebody before I would even see it on a standard exam with a lens. And so
Wow.
all of those conversations take place with my patients of this is why we do this, this is why we have this technology, is because we can detect disease before you even have symptoms.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's very interesting. And now the whole nutrition component through the Ocular Wellness and Nutrition Society, we're really trying to make sure that that is front and center in education and part of eye exams because it is so important to talk about
Yeah.
things and risk factors and your sleep and your exercise and all the things that connect, right? With
Yes.
not just eye health, but everything, your joint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes I put patients on supplements with omegas and I tell them, I'm like, this isn't just going to help your eyes. This is going to help how you feel like
Joint
whole.
pain and anything like that. Yeah. You won't be stiff anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, so
It'll look me up.
there's a lot of connected dots and a lot of light bulbs that go off. But I have patients that come back the next year and say, "Oh, doc, I've been eating more of this, or I've changed this," or I've seen patients go down like 4 steps in their prescription, and it always, always, always is related to something going on is in the lifestyle. So I'm like, tell me what you did
Yes.
different this past year. And one patient said, I completely cut sugar out.
Awesome.
She dropped 4 steps in her prescription. So
Isn't that amazing?
it's usually connected to lifestyle change, or I'm sleeping better, or I retired. So you
That
drop
always
you
helps.
drop the stress bomb, right, with work. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that really changed for me when I retired from sales. That was such a stressful position for me. And getting out of that, my stress levels dropped immensely, and so much of my health has changed since then. But yeah, it really does make a difference. And that's what I see with my clients as well, is that, they're on medications, they're on diabetes medications or high blood pressure. And I'm working to help them change what they're eating to help them change their health. And sure enough, they're getting off the diabetes medications, they're getting off the high blood pressure medications. Their numbers are increasingly getting better and better, or they've just improved and the doctor's been able to remove them from the
Yeah,
medications.
yeah.
So
I
it's
have
really
those
cool.
conversations in eye exams, and it's very frustrating when patients of mine tell me that their doctors haven't had any of those conversations of what they should be focusing on for diet if their cholesterol's high, or their sleep apnea, and they haven't even done a test on whether or not that's affecting their sleep, or like deficiencies in vitamin D, or all of these things, magnesium, right, can
Yeah.
truly have a role in stress and sleep and all those things. So
And I think, I mean, from what I understand is that from everything that I've watched and every podcast I've listened to, every doctor only gets one class on nutrition. And so they don't know anything about nutrition. They have no idea what to test for because they're all they know is how to prescribe a medication to help somebody. That's what they've been taught
yeah, when I was in
versus
school, we had no courses on nutrition.
okay.
But you have to learn about lutein and zeaxanthin, because at the time I graduated, there was a big study that came out, and so if somebody has macular degeneration, then you put them on vitamins. So there was no preventative discussion or talk of like,
Yeah.
how do we not get there? How do we
Yeah.
how do we have those conversations 20 years before that,
Before. Yeah.
so we don't have to see macular degeneration and then treat it? We can say, hey, this is what you need to do today, so we don't have to treat you later, right?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
that's fascinating. Yeah. So I'm sure with all the training that you've had now, you're really helping people to improve their outcomes for longer in life.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice to have those conversations, and again, to just draw more awareness on how to change the way that we look at medicine or healthcare or all of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right. So you're listening to Larson Health Podcast with Dr. Carrie Roitstein. This episode is brought to you by our sponsors and Larson Health Weight Loss. Find simple functional medicine inspired recipes at larsonhealthweightloss.com. We'll be welcome back. We'll be back in a minute. All right, welcome back. I'm your host, Kim Larson, and it's been such an insightful conversation so far with Dr. Carrie. So let's get back into it. So, how does genetic testing work in detecting risk for macular degeneration?
this is a fun one. So this, I would say, is kind of like the most focused on aspect of healthcare right now is genetics, right?
Okay, yeah.
So oculomics, which would be like the connection between like ocular biomarkers and cystic
Okay,
disease. There are there is technology that I offer in my office. Right now for macular degeneration, they're working on coming out with some for glaucoma soon.
wow.
Um, and what it does is it's shown that there are specific genes that are related to macular degeneration. So
There
if
are.
somebody
Okay.
has a health history of macular degeneration in the family, or if they're starting to show signs of macular degeneration, that is a test that I insist that we do in the office.
Okay.
Get results back that allow us to personalize a nutrition plan. And so, based on the results of their genetic testing, the combination of genes, this test would say if you have a low, a moderate, or a high risk. And we decide if it's something that maybe we could modify with diet to start, depends on the age of the patient, or if we really need to get started on like super dosing some of the foods that are necessary to
Yeah.
shift, right? and
Yeah.
and also that is, controlling disease. So part of that testing looks at your BMI, and it looks at your sex. Females are higher risk for macular degeneration than men.
Hmm.
And it looks at age, and it looks at if there's any signs of macular degeneration. And so that's been kind of a game changer in having those
Yeah.
conversations too with patients, because we always knew that there was a higher risk if somebody in your family had it, but
Yeah.
now there's testing that we can do for it.
Now, what if somebody already has their whole genome done?
It depends on what company that you go through, right? So like some of the more broad genetic tests
Like
just tell
23andMe?
like one of those would tell you if you are at risk for it, but it doesn't necessarily give you the gene markers that I would need to personalize a nutrition plan.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, so if that came back and it was positive, then it's likely we would still want to do this other one to figure out like 30% of the population should not be on a high dose of zinc if you have a
Oh,
specific, those at risk for macular degeneration.
yeah.
We want to watch
Interesting.
zinc. There's been some studies on that. And so, again, it allows us to personalize a nutrition.
Very interesting. So, yeah. So, if someone has a family history or early signs of it, what are the next steps?
We would have those conversations of doing the testing, shifting their diet, uh, like drawing back on sugar, leaning into controlling the systemic disease, right? So your cholesterol, your heart disease, diabetes, all those things can increase risk factors.
Okay.
But yeah, trying to work on kind of dialing in a plan to get healthier so we can lower the risk.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So, how can you, like, is there a way to personalize the nutrition and wellness, planning and to help protect or restore the vision?
yeah. We talk about sunglasses. It's a big one. We talk about uh, getting more of those carotenoids in. So your lutein, your zeaxanthin, your omegas obviously help with inflammation. And so
And eating an anti-inflammatory diet, does that help?
diet is a big one. Yeah. So I talk a lot about sugar or the types of sugar that people eat, because most people don't connect sugar with cholesterol or
Yeah.
sugar with eye disease.
It's
Um,
it's amazing all the effects that sugar has on people, and people have no idea. And
yeah,
they don't know all the names of sugar.
correct.
I actually do a presentation showing all the different names for sugar,
Yeah,
and then also the bad oils, the good oils, right? All those things that can affect us.
it is. Yeah. I mean, you've been through a coaching program, a health coaching program, as I have, and you kind of you do have to personalize it. So not everybody's going
We
to go
do.
home and stop eating sugar.
Right.
It's, how can you take one thing back that you were eating yesterday and stop, one less cookie
Yes.
or add in one more vegetable. I'm not
Yeah.
expecting, I say 5 cups a day of lutein and zeaxanthin. I mean, I have a hard time eating 5 cups a day of lutein and zeaxanthin, right? So
Yes.
so it's trying to like like push. Then the next year I see that patient back, I gave them one little snippet of whatever they can do to modify their lifestyle, and then they'll say, "Oh, I'm putting more spinach in my smoothie." And I'll say, "Great. So now this year we're going to do, let's talk about this." Or, you have to kind of think of what's going to stick.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, especially when they're starting from the bottom and
Yeah,
trying to work their way up.
yeah,
It's like it's baby steps or
baby
like
steps.
trying to eat an elephant just one bite at a time, right?
It's baby steps, but it's trying, the shifting that whole like mentality of, let's not wait until something hits us. Let's take care of our bodies and nourish our bodies and do things that are going to prevent us from going blind
Yeah.
or having aches and pains, all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't want those to happen, right? And we don't want to go blind. So, are there any exciting new technologies in night vision
Um,
or
I
night vision care even?
Your night vision is again more, we talked about those carotenoids. So
Yeah.
nutrition is a big one. So a lot of prescription, like it's somebody that has astigmatism, that has more irregular corneas, making sure they're in the proper contact lenses. There's a lot of specialty contacts that can correct the vision. Um, Controlling dry eyes. Dry eyes is a big one that you can get a lot of vision fluctuations.
Okay.
Nutrition, though, we go back to nutrition, right?
Yeah.
There's we're offering some new technology for migraine sufferers that are
Oh, really?
light
Talk,
sensitive.
tell me about that.
It's brand new technology that's filtering specific wavelengths of light. And so a lot of migraine sufferers are triggered by those lights, right? So
Interesting.
your fluorescent lights, that flicker frequency, or blue light. And so there is new technology that we offer. We're the only providers, I believe, in Chicago that are offering it. But and it's been a game changer for patients. But that can help with night vision also.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Chicago June 22nd, and I was trying to get an appointment with you downtown, but you're not available. It's a Monday, and I think you
Oh,
might either you're closed or you're out in the
I'm
suburbs.
not downtown on Mondays.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
darn.
I know. I'm in my other office.
Yeah.
Next time, next time.
Yeah, next time. So, with your role on the board of the Ocular Wellness and Nutrition Society, like what trends are you seeing in how we approach eye health?
Oh gosh. We are this year we are focusing, oh, dog. Um, we are focusing more on health span,
Okay.
as far as your eyes are related, but also just general health instead of lifespan, right? So health span is the number of years that we are actively healthy, not just the number of years we're living. And so trying to focus our attention and getting more getting more membership. You can go to the Ocular Wellness and Nutrition Society website,
Okay.
and there's articles that are available and science-backed things for members of OWNS. We offer continuing education
Cool.
in different classes. You can also go on that site and you can find doctors that, like myself, that are in different cities that have that same mindset. That
Okay.
a lot of patients that have found me on that website.
So I might be able to find one in Northern Michigan.
It's possible. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll have
It's
to check it
possible.
out.
Yeah.
Might be
Uh,
Traverse City.
yeah. Um, so the board is really trying to just expand the knowledge of nutrition and eye health and uh, ocular wellness, right, to a broader population of eye doctors and patients and kind of a larger population.
Okay.
So
That's
just trying
cool.
to make make more practitioners to having the conversations that I'm having with my patients, because there are, now that we have social media, whether it's good, bad, or ugly,
Right.
people want to learn and they want to understand, and it's hard to process all the stuff that's coming in at us
Yes.
and filter out the good, the bad, or the ugly, right?
Yeah, you really have to know who to listen to, right? I mean, if you have to know who the fathers are of Function Health and medicine and follow them to learn, the true information.
Right, right.
Yeah. And you and I know those things because we've been following it. And but so many people are so and even when you look at these people, some of them are giving misleading information to each other.
Yeah,
Right. So yeah, it's really confusing sometimes when you're looking at it. So you got to look at your own research to know
yeah.
what,
It's scary.
yeah,
It's
it is.
scary, the amount of information out there that is not accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. So no
Yeah,
doubt. I mean, it's just kind of interesting.
yeah.
So for listeners who feel like they're already behind in protecting their eyes, what's a good place to start?
Um, I would say annual eye exam. So make sure that you have that exam every year. So your eyes are the only place that we can see the vasculature, and we can see the maculas. We can detect cataracts that could be a side effect from some, like a medication. And so there's so many things that we can find in an eye exam. Whether you see good or not see good, you should have an eye health exam. It's not always, I just need to get my contacts refilled. So,
Right.
right. And so I would say that would be number one. Um, we talked about nutrition. So make sure that you're just taking care of yourself wholly,
Yeah. Yeah.
wearing your sunglasses, have a healthy relationship with your devices
Yes.
for
And
a lot of things. Yeah.
And what about like is it enough for somebody to go for a walk? Is does it help them to lift weights for their eyes? What is it? What is like working out or any kind of workout? Anyone specific?
Well, again, working out, weights are super important for longevity, right?
Yes.
Weight.
Yes.
And so that affects the vasculature in your eyes. And so weight training and getting that movement in every day and getting good sleep and keeping your stress levels down. So a lot of times when I see fluid in people's eyes, a lot of times it's from stress. It can be from sleep apnea, it can be from a lot of different things. It can be from inflammation in the body that's caused from, maybe we don't know. Maybe we
Yeah.
delve in. So a lot of those things can come up on an eye exam, and people don't really connect those dots. And eye exam is super important. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
just like dental health is equally as important.
There's someone that follows me, and I'm always seeing him eating SpaghettiOs, and sometimes he has raviolis with his SpaghettiOs, and he gets a lot of soda delivered, cases upon cases of soda delivered. And I asked him, I'm like, so do you have any health challenges? And he goes, no, none at all. I'm like, that cannot be
You
true.
will,
Yeah,
you
because if you
will,
don't right now, you will. You're right. Exactly.
well, yeah, you will.
You're going to have diabetes. You're going to have high blood pressure. You're going to have some other. Aw, there's a
You
baby.
cannot sustain a healthy life or health span on Diet Coke and SpaghettiOs.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
That is so true.
yeah.
Well, this segment of the Larson Health Podcast is brought to you by our sponsors, Restorative Digestive Balance and Reduce Inflammation with our 4-week Food is Medicine program, available now at larsonhealthweightloss.com. We'll be right back with Dr. Carrie Roitstein. All right. Thank you for staying with us. I've been joined by Dr. Carrie on this episode, and she has been educating us on everything we need to know about our vision. So, how can parents help set up healthier vision habits for their children in a tech savvy world?
So we are in a time now that they're calling it a pandemic, of myopia or nearsightedness in
Okay.
children. And so nearsightedness, we can increase the prevalence of myopia with increased near tasks. And so the
Okay.
days that you and I grew up, where you were outside the entire time from when you got home from school until you got yelled at
To
and had
get
to
in.
come in
Yeah.
because you were out too long. Um, Now kids are inside a lot more and they're on
Yeah. Video gaming and
time. So, it's 2 hours a day that kids should be in nature, which is hard when you live where we live because, winters keep us inside more. Um,
yeah.
and it's hard to get kids out in nature when it's, 30 degrees outside. But as much time as possible outside can reduce myopia. Um,
Okay.
Healthy eating habits. So same for kids as it is for adults. Uh, Movement, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Healthier relationships with devices. So we talk about the dark mode with kids. We talk about, big readers. I don't want to discourage kids from reading books, but the 20-20-20 rule was coined by Dr. Jeffrey Angel, and he coined that term basically to promote more time away from near tasks. So every 20 minutes, you take a 20-second visual break and you look 20 feet away. So
And
if you,
then maybe 100 feet away, and then maybe as far as you can
yeah,
see.
so if you're on a
Yeah.
device or reading a book or doing those close activities, we want to just, get your eyes off of those screens more, uh,
Yeah.
give your eyes a rest, and to promote healthier habits with those kids too. But now everything in school is on a device. Books are on devices. Everything is mobile.
Yeah.
And so, parents just have to create those spaces of getting kids away from the devices, get them out the door,
Yes.
go outside, go play, go move, go be creative, right?
Yeah. Yeah. One good thing about not living in the big city anymore and living in an area where we have lots of snow typically, all the kids are out skiing in the winter or snowboarding or snowmobiling or I mean
Yeah,
there's so much fun to have in the snow. And we're cross country skiing or going hiking, and
yeah,
so we're outside all the time. And I can remember an eye doctor saying to me when I was younger that you need to, you look here, then you look at the next spot, then you look at the next spot, and you look further and further away, and then you look at your nose, and then you look a little, just to train your eye to
yeah,
exercise it because it's a muscle just like any other.
correct. Yeah. So if you're staring at your device close for too long, it can also create a lot of eye strain and blur, because think of getting a Charlie horse in your leg. I tell my
Yeah.
patients, if you're staring at your screens too long and then you gaze up to get in the car to go home from work or from the office, things appear blurry because your eyes are still stuck. They're like stuck in that mode, that close working distance.
Wow, that's
So
interesting.
the more that you can give your eyes that rest and get that gaze away, you're preventing
Yeah.
those vision fluctuations. In dry eyes, we don't blink as much when we are staring at our screens, and so yeah. So
Reminded me to blink.
yeah. So there's a lot of things that can come into play with those devices, but for kids, we just need to, same thing, promote just a more healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, get outside and get one with Earth.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's one big misconception people have about eye care that you wish you could correct?
I think a lot of people don't realize how much of your health is connected to your eyes, and vision in general. And so I wish people would come in for their exams. The pandemic actually changed that a lot. So we are getting people that are coming in more often because during the pandemic, I think a lot of patients had coverage and they were too busy to get in, but then they were working from home so much that we started seeing more people in the neighborhood schedule their first eye exam and start to do those types of things. But the conversations that are taking place when they come in to see me, at least, I get a lot of referrals. And
That's great.
once they, I'm going to make my husband come in, and he hasn't had an eye exam in 10 years.
Wow.
And so just
Gosh.
understanding how much it, a lot of people are like, well, I see fine, right? And so
Yeah.
that's great, but you still need to have an eye exam. So you
Yes.
still need to have those eyes checked, um, regardless of what age. So in the state of Illinois, where I am, it's kindergarten by law. You have to have a formal eye exam to enter school. So, which is great.
It is great. Yeah.
You can pick up a lot of undetected vision issues that your learning is connected to your vision. And so a lot of
Yeah.
kids that aren't going to complain that they can't see, the parents might not know that they need correction to start school.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Well, well, Dr. Carrie, thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. Your work reminds us that vision is more than clarity, right? It's a reflection of how we live, nourish ourselves, and protect our well-being.
Absolutely.
So until next time, keep your eyes open, your body nourished, and your health in focus. Visit glimpsevision.com to learn more about Dr. Carrie and to visit her in the Chicagoland area. Dr. Carrie, thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you in Chicago soon.
I hope so.